like nation like Israel. I say to you, let Israel pray. So I see a sudden attack. Because and the angel of God took me, when they brought me into the place, I saw an attack and I saw fire. I saw fire. Then the angel said, this place we brought you is Israel. Amen. This place we brought you is what? Israel. Now the angel said, this is a sudden attack. They never expect that attack. This is Israel. Amen.
Lifting hands, bowing hearts is all we've come to.
Israel has bombed several key targets in Gaza in retaliation for what it says was a Hamas rocket attack early Monday morning. Israeli officials say a rocket fired from the Gaza Strip struck a house in central Israel, wounding 7 people. The violence prompted Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to cut short a visit to Washington. Joining me now to discuss this is Dan Raviv. Dan is the author of several books on the Middle East. He is also a former CBS News correspondent who is now the senior Washington correspondent for I-24 News. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. Why is this conflict between Hamas and Israel heating up again?
Well, of course, from time to time, it happens. It seems to be connected with the Israeli election, just 2 weeks away on April 9th. That is to say that someone in the Gaza Strip, we don't know if it's high up in the Hamas movement which governs that territory, or someone actually low down who has access to a missile firing facility, decided to push the button. One long-range missile actually flew more than 50 miles, and that's a big deal in that part of the world. More than 50 miles, not really aimed with any precision, but it hit a house. It wounded 7 Israelis, and right away it became the big issue in Israel, especially.
From the Israel-Gaza border, over 50 rockets were launched towards Israeli territory this morning, with sirens sounding off across the Israeli communities adjacent to the border. The Israeli military says it struck 2 rocket launchers in northern Gaza in response. Earlier on Saturday, the IDF said a rocket landed near the border fence in the
Israelis running for shelter in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, seeking safety from Hamas rockets launched from Gaza, now a daily occurrence across Israel.
No country on earth would remain passive in the face of hundreds of rockets fired on its cities, and Israel is no exception.
Israel calculates there are 10,000 rockets in Gaza in the hands of various terrorist groups.
The amount of rockets that we're seeing come out of Hamas and the Gaza Strip is really kind of alarming. They're launching salvos of 40 at a time, over 100 a day.
A huge worry, the Hamas rocket called the M302. With a range of about 100 miles, it allows Hamas to reach deeper into Israel than ever before. Israel says Hamas is getting outside help. In March, Israeli forces stopped a ship containing M302s that the Israelis said came from Iran and were headed for Gaza. Several rockets are also locally produced in Gaza. Israeli airstrikes now aiming at rocket launch sites, production factories, and other militant targets. Israel's main defense? This system called the Iron Dome. Strategically placed units around Israel launch missiles against incoming rockets that appear headed for population centers. So far, Israel says it's worked well much of the time, but Hamas is looking for vulnerability.
I think what they're trying to do is fire as many as they can in a short period of time, because that overwhelms the Iron Dome sensors.
The U.S. has already spent nearly $900 million on Iron Dome, just part of the $3 billion in U.S. funding for Israel's defenses. The Pentagon is keeping a close eye on whether Israel will launch a ground incursion into Gaza. U.S. officials say it's not clear to them what will happen.
This place we brought you is what? Now they said this is a sudden attack. They never expect that attack. This is Israel.